But the other point to the sales or to the property tax that I mentioned that the county paid, the Oneidas have paid some taxes and call them silver covenants or what you want, to the tune of over $6 million just in Oneida County alone over that same time period. So if you couple that $6 million with our $6 million and $30 million coming forward, show me another entity that has paid that much to the county in the last 10 years.
Is there anything that the Oneida the nation wanted in this agreement that you rejected flat out?
Well, I'd rather not get into the public pieces of negotiations. I think it came down to different areas of money and different areas of payments of taxes and everything, but there were flips on both sides, so it's really, again, a true negotiation.
After the 5-year window of land trust, have the Oneidas agreed to not make applications for further land, or have you merely reserved the right to?
We reserve the right to challenge any trust land after 5 of new lands purchased by the Oneidas as of January 1st, 2009. But there's a 5-year moratorium on trust that says they do not, at the end of this agreement, and if this agreement goes into effect as planned, that for 5 years from that date, they do not make application for 1 single acre of land. Because I believed it was important for this area not to go through another land and trust process for a period of time.
I thought you said after that, at the end of 5 years, they can apply without opposition. But then you said
without opposition on the remaining acreage in the trust application that exists.
Oh, was that like
1,700 acres approximately? Don't hold me to it.
So basically, after 5 years, they can have the 1,700 acres. They just have to wait.
Well, they have to apply. I mean, we're assuming that
well,
again.
Once they apply,
we're assuming.
If you don't oppose it, they have to say that then they can have the 1,700 acres.
They can.
So all you're saying is you can have 8,800 now. You give us $30 million. The state will give you a liquor license, and in 5 years you can have the other 1,700.
And they got to and there's other pieces. They got to correct the sales tax issue as well.
So
there's all those pieces.
Everything's
a part of this. If nothing moves, if one part of this falls apart, in terms of it, it becomes the house of cards. Because again, I mean, all of this is contingent on each other.
Has Ray Colbert or anybody from that camp intimated to you how those negotiations are going, or if he's, expecting to?
Well, I think they are expecting to reach an agreement, and we have. I mean, we have been at the table at some of those. That has been a part, but now it's, again, I believe that our pieces have been done in terms of that, and again, it's between the nation and the state, and that continues really as we speak, and will continue going forward. And there'll be discussion with the legislature as well, the state legislature, with this going forward from that perspective.
Where does Madison County fit in this?
Madison County is not a part of this agreement.
And why?
You'd have to ask Madison County. I mean, we had been on parallel tracks in terms of litigation, which we remain as we speak. I had, last year, brought Madison County along with me to the table with the Oneidas. We started to try and begin a dialogue. And again, I couldn't negotiate for Madison County no more than they could negotiate for Oneida. And, as ours continued, theirs fell off. And you'd have to ask them why.
How do you win over a substantial group of people who have opposed any agreement with the Oneida short of an imposition of existing law for collection of taxes, collection of property, and sales tax? Is there in reality a chance of winning them over to understand this agreement?
I think, I said at my State of the County that, when we started getting closer to an agreement, that there were a few groups of people that I knew I would have to deal with. There were those that didn't want any type of settlement and wanted to continue on the court pursuit, and there was really nothing I was going to do to change those minds. I think on the other point, there is the second group that wants every dime, every fee, every tax, every piece completed and paid backwards, forwards, and forever. And I think that's just unrealistic. And I think the courts have showed us that that's unrealistic. So for those two groups, that's going to be a hard group to push. I have faith in the community and in a legislature that will look at the greater good of this entire agreement and trying to move this county forward and stop this. And so, the point I want to reach to are the people that I've heard for the last 2.5 years throughout this county and that have been a part of it to, let's move forward. Let's work together. Let's get something, and let's together. Let's become a part of something bigger than just exists right now, which again is discourse. I mean, we have great opportunity here in this county, but we're losing it, and the benefits of that enterprise and the recreation that takes place at Turning Stone is a benefit to all. All other levels of government around the state recognize it. In the month of June, the New York State Fire Chiefs Association are having their convention there. That's going to bring over 25,000 people to this area. We don't recognize it. There are people in this room and others that don't go there, and I understand that. You have a view about it, and that's peace. But the fact that we're not working everybody to benefit from the economic spin-off in there, which we should be doing a better job of, is a concern. The fact that, again, Syracuse Airport benefits more than the Oneida County Airport does in terms of general aviation, and then the belief that we can with our investment that we're making at the airport, be a part of that growth. I think there are a lot of those pieces that come together and that can be a bigger part of this picture.
How about convincing the Board of Legislators? You and a few of them have not seen eye to eye. How do you go about now convincing them to pass this?
Well, again, I think it goes back to the ones that we don't see eye to eye. I think we don't see eye to eye, and we don't agree on this issue. And again, they probably fall into one of those two categories I talked to. I'm hopeful that the majority, a majority of them, combined on both sides, and I've had discussion with both sides about this issue. Several of them over time. Yes, we have disagreements, but again, I would continue to push for the majority vote on this.
And if they don't pass it, the deal's done?
Don't pass it, then again we're in litigation and nothing happens.
Do you go back to the table?
Well, again, I guess that's a question that we'll have to evaluate at that time. We want to go forward now, and we'll have to talk to the Oneidas.
The trust I'm talking about is a trust between OIN in relation to the 18 acres that they've gone into without any okay from the federal government, and they're building some sort of a training facility for the fire departments of the state in conflict with the town of Verona, which has its own training center. There's no trust between them and us. As far as I'm concerned, any agreement that you have is going to be worth the paper it's written on.
Okay, I guess that's a no. Next. Anything else? Chad, I'm just taking questions from the press. I'll talk to the legislature. There'll be plenty of time for that. Any other questions from the media? Thank you very much. Oh, Jody?
But I was just wondering if the supervisors in the town of Verona, which is really impacted in this, if you've met with him personally and discussed what he might feel a good negotiator. We go back to this issue of negotiations and who was there and who was not. I approached the Oneidas the same way everybody else could. But I heard from a lot of people, including the supervisor, that negotiations were a waste of time. And again, I have to think of as county executive for this entire county. I was elected by the full county, to do this job. And again, I put a plan forth that nobody else has ever done. Nobody else has put anything to paper. Nobody else has put an agreement in concept. Again, you don't like it, they don't like it, the board doesn't like it, they can vote it down. It's in their hands now. But I've done something, or come up with an alternative. If the alternative is the courts and their opinion, we've been there. I don't agree with it at this point. But again, to get everybody, to get 29 people at a table, and supervisors and superintendents and others, it was not reasonable. And again, the same people that wanted to be at the table are the people that didn't want a settlement. So I can't really balance that argument fairly, and I don't understand how it works. So I mean, I don't consider that being reasonable. I've tried to do this in the best way in terms of the purview of my office to move this forward, and I'll let the legislature deal with it at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan?
Would you say the county withdraws from the foreclosure action?
That would be a condition going forward, but not until, again, all conditions if this agreement moves forward.
Mr. Picente, I did want to tell you, not the one you did.
Understood. Thank you.